Then actually we have come to types of learners, adult and adolescent learners గురించి చూసాం మనము. అంటే విత్ రిఫరెన్స్ టు వేరియస్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్. యాక్చువల్గా నిన్న శర్మ రాలేదు. నిన్న మనం చూసింది ఒక్కసారి చూపిస్తాను చూడండి. మనం వీ హ్యావ్ ఎస్టర్డే డిస్కస్డ్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. ఏమిటంటే లెర్నర్స్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఏమిటి, అండ్ దెన్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఆఫ్ అడాలసెంట్ అండ్ అడల్ట్ లెర్నర్స్. అడాలసెంట్ ది గ్రోయింగ్ ఏజ్ గ్రూప్, అది అడల్ట్ లెర్నర్స్ అంటే సెటిల్డ్ ఏజ్ గ్రూప్, అడ్వాన్స్డ్ ఏజ్ గ్రూప్ అనమాట అది. సో విత్ రిఫరెన్స్ టు వేరియస్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ రిలేటింగ్ టు academics, that is one point, and then social, and then emotional, and then cognitive, అంటే రిలేటింగ్ టు బ్రెయిన్ కెపాసిటీస్, క్యాపబిలిటీస్. వీటి విషయంలో అడాలసెంట్ లెర్నర్స్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఎట్లా ఉంటాయి, అడల్ట్ లెర్నర్స్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ ఎట్లా ఉంటాయి అనేది మనం ఇది చూసాం మనం. తర్వాత హౌ కెన్ దేర్ బి ఎనీ డిఫరెన్సెస్ బిట్వీన్ డిఫరెంట్ లెర్నర్స్, ఇది కూడా చూసాం మనం. ఎందుకంటే ఆల్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ నాట్ అలైక్. They definitely, every individual differs from the other with reference to various capabilities, capacities, and inherent qualities, and all those things. Therefore, that also we have seen yesterday. This also we have covered yesterday. Then what are the factors affect teaching? Relating to the teacher, learner, support material, instructional facilities, learning environment, and institution. ఇది మనం చూస్తున్నాము. ఈ చూస్తున్న దాంట్లో మనం ఒక్కొక్కటి విడివిడిగా చూసుకొని వస్తున్నాం. దిస్ ఈజ్ లైక్ ఏ హెడ్డింగ్, అండ్ దెన్ ఒక్కొక్క టాపిక్ చూస్తూ వస్తున్నాం. ఇందులో మనం చూసింది ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ ఎఫెక్టింగ్ టీచింగ్ విత్ రిఫరెన్స్ టు ది టీచర్. అవి ఏమిటి అనేది ఇది కూడా మనం చూసేసాము. తర్వాత టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ లెర్నర్స్, అడల్ట్ అండ్ అడాలసెంట్ లెర్నర్స్ ఆల్రెడీ పైన చూసాం మనం. ఫీల్డ్ డిపెండెంట్ అండ్ ఫీల్డ్ ఇండిపెండెంట్ లెర్నర్స్ ఎట్లా ఉంటారు అనేది మనం చూసాం. ఇది జనరల్ గా ఈ ఏరియాలో ఒక క్వశ్చన్ వస్తూ ఉంది, ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఒక బిట్ ఇస్తారు. ఫీల్డ్ డిపెండెంట్ అండ్ ఫీల్డ్ ఇండిపెండెంట్ లెర్నర్స్ అంటే ఏమిటో మనం చూసాము. ఇది తెలియడం అవసరమే. ఇది ఫీల్డ్ మీన్స్ ఆల్ ది ఫార్మల్ ఎడ్యుకేషనల్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ like a teacher, an institution, some institutional facilities, etc., classroom, study aids, study material, books, all these things. All these things make the field of education, field of teaching learning process. And the learners are of importantly two types. One are who exclusively depend on this field. So they need this field and these characteristics for the purpose of their learning. Others are independent learners. They are not totally dependent on these field features. They are self-growing and they are self-planning, self-evaluating people. They are independent learners. They only need guidance. So this is the major difference between field dependent and field independent learners. This also we have discussed yesterday. And then now here starts our today's discussion. Types of learners. Types of learners. In fact, this also to some extent we have seen, but of course, these points are not covered. See, regarding learners, we will be getting different sets of things which contain different types of different points relating to characteristics or training or knowledge and all those things. So, whichever comes across, we have to just understand and take them to our brain. That is the important thing here. And then types of learners whom human beings acquire new skills, knowledge, attitudes, and values. Outcomes of learning are the new capabilities possessed by the learner. Teaching learning process, as we have discussed already, is mainly to shape the behavioral aspects of a learner to prepare a fully grown up and value-based individual. This is the expected main outcome of teaching. So, not just the academic routine. Keeping this in view, this point is said that these students, human beings means the learners, they acquire new skills through teaching learning process, and they acquire new knowledge. They develop their attitudes in the proper way, and they start realizing real values of life. And then they will be value-based characters. That is important for the society. Then outcomes of learning are the new capabilities possessed by the learner. All the learners already, they will have some inherent characteristics and capabilities. These are brushed up and these are developed by teaching process. So those learners, learners are of some types. Some of the learners are of this type who increase all these capabilities through their learning. Then good learners are enthusiastic. Enthusiastic means probing, inquiring into the points given to them. Teaching, if the teacher conveys some information and discusses about one point, they don't just stop there. They just don't they don't get satisfied at that level. They would be more enthusiastic and inquisitive. They inquire into the other features around the topic, and they make their own thinkings, and they may be giving certain new facts also from what they have already learned. Then prior experience of learners plays an important role. This we have already discussed, that when we are starting a topic, if we already have some knowledge, naturally we'll pick up the subject quickly and we'll be able to analyze it fastly and also understand it. And then cognitive level of learner. Cognitive level is always different for individual learners. It differs from learner to learner. And depending on the cognitive level means his brain capacities, his capacities of thought process, capacities of understanding, capacities of grasping, capacities of retaining, capacities of recalling. All these things pertain to the brain activity. So the cognitive level of learner also makes a difference among the learners, and certain learners have good cognitive capacities. Then learners' stage of development. Learners are in different stages of development with reference to their individual development. Individually, all learners are not at the same level at which they acquired the same level of knowledge or same level of information. So it differs. So this also makes a difference in the types of learners. And then motivational orientation. Motivational orientation means the learner always should have self-motivation. First of all, he should have self-motivation. He should always pump himself up to learn new things, and he should be interested in learning. That is important. So motivational orientation, these relate to different types of learners. And then the next topic is difference between learning and teaching. Just we have to know all these points. We do not know how questions are set in multiple choice type of testing. So teaching implies learning, but learning does not imply teaching. This we have already discussed many times. Teaching goes only when there are learners. Without learner, teaching cannot be done. To whom to teach? So teaching implies learning. When teaching is going on, there are learners. When learners are there, some learning is going on. But for learning, teacher is not necessary. Teaching is not necessary. Learning goes in the society at every moment, at every point of time, and in respect of any individual. Teaching is a social act and learning is a personal act. Teaching is a social act means here teacher imparts knowledge to the society. Society means a group of people. He shares his knowledge with a group of people. This is a social act. And learning is a personal act. When I am teaching, say, about 20 students, student, as far as he is considered, he is the only entity as far as his self is concerned. He is a learner for himself. His learning is for himself only. So every learner, it's a personal act. Whatever he is learning is for his sake. Whereas teaching is for the sake of all the learners. So we call teaching as a social act and learning as a personal act of the particular learners. And then teaching is a type of interaction and is periodic in nature, and learning is active engagement in subject domain. Teaching is a type of interaction and is periodic. Periodic means it is a three-way process. It involves three features, three different factors in what is called teaching. Teaching is a type of interaction between whom? It's an interaction between a teacher and a student, and to join these two people, the medium is the intervening variable, which is the learning, teaching curriculum. It is the academic curriculum is the intervening variable here. Teacher is the independent variable. and learner is a dependent variable. This is what is called triadic in nature. So these three are the factors involved in teaching learning process. It is a sort of interaction in between these three factors. That is what is said here. And this is about teaching, and learning is active engagement in subject domain. As far as learning is concerned, the student should concern himself with learning within the subject domain, within the arena of the subject or syllabus prescribed and is being taught to him. Teaching is always linked with learning and learners, but one need not be taught to learn something. That means when there is teaching, there is some learning going on, because teaching is done only when there are learners. So when there are learners, some learning is going on. And teaching, therefore, teaching is linked with learning and learners. But one need not be taught to learn something. But if one has to learn something, it is not necessary that he is taught. He can learn it by observation or by practice or by his self-motivation or by his self-inquiry into the society. So like this is the difference between learning and teaching. What is learning and what is teaching? So the next thing is disorders in learning. This is also a question may be set on such terms. I have taken some 4 terms just which are set in previous examinations. What are the learning disorders? He gives disorder in understanding a topic, disorder in his writing skills, disorder in speech skills. ఓ 4-5 options ఇస్తారు. ఇచ్చి the name of this disorder is dyscalculia అని ఇస్తాడు అనుకోండి. So we should understand what is this disability. Learning disorder means a disability, a debility to do something relating to learning teaching. So learning disorders lo now we'll see some 4 terms only. These are, for example, there will be many more terms, but these are the terms which were set in previous examinations. So this is dyscalculia. This means this disorder relates to difficulty in understanding mathematics and numbers, arithmetical operations, science, etc. So ఇవన్నీ కూడా క్యాలిక్యులేషన్స్ కి సంబంధించినవి. క్యాలిక్యులేషన్స్ కి సంబంధించినవి అని నేను ఎందుకు అంటున్నాను అని అంటే, ఈ మాటల్ని మనం దిస్ రిలేట్స్ టు దిస్ డెబిలిటీ అనేది ఎలా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి? దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ వీ కాల్ నెమోనిక్స్. కొన్ని బండ గుర్తులు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. దాన్ని చూడగానే మనకు ఓహో ఇది ఇదే అని గుర్తొస్తుంది. ఎందుకంటే నౌ ఐఎమ్ హియర్ షోయింగ్ ఐఎమ్ ఓన్లీ 4 terms: dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and then dyslexia, and then dysphasia or aphasia. ఈ రకంగా నేను 4 terms ఇక్కడ మీకు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఈ 4 చదివిన తర్వాత కొంచెం సేపు పోయిన తర్వాత, లేకపోతే 2 రోజులు పోయిన తర్వాత అగైన్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ఎ డిఫికల్టీ. ఏమిటి ఏది అనేది కన్ఫ్యూజన్ వస్తుంది. ఇది దీందా. సో ఏది దేనిది అనేది గుర్తు పెట్టుకునేటందుకు ఒక టిప్ అన్నమాట. ఎట్లా గుర్తు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అనేది. ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, డిస్కాల్క్యులియా అనే దాంట్లో క్యాల్కులస్ అనేది మనకు కనిపిస్తుంది. Calculus relates to mathematics. All of us know that calculus is equal to calculations. Calculations means something relating to mathematics, means something relating to numbers and various mathematical operations. This is the thing. So this is the way how you have to try to remember things so that you can recollect and give the correct answer when the options are placed before you. So dyscalculia is difficulty in understanding mathematics, numbers, arithmetical operations, and science. Calculus is we say these are the key words and the key points which hint you the meaning of actually the term. Then dysgraphia. Graphia means you can see graphia, graphics. This relates to graphics. Graphics means an artistic work. Graphics means an artistic work or something relating to an artwork. So poor handwriting, that's bad graphics. Inconsistent spacing, అంటే వంకరగా రాయడం, తర్వాత వర్డ్ టు వర్డ్ స్పేసింగ్ లేకపోవడం, ఒక లెటర్ పెద్దది ఒక లెటర్ చిన్నది రాయడం, ఇవన్నీ these are all various inconsistencies in proper handwriting or in properly expressing things figuratively also. So poor handwriting, inconsistent spacing, and wrong spellings, etc. All these things are called dysgraphia. This is one of the learning disorders. This disorder relates to these points. So graphics means artistic things. That means bad handwriting, inconsistent spacing, irregular representation of figurative things like this. And then dyslexia. Dyslexia means what is this? Lexicography. Lex ane మాట కనపడగానే మీ డిక్షనరీ గుర్తు రావాలి. డిక్షనరీ గుర్తొస్తే అర్థం ఏమిటన్నమాట మీకు? You are unable to grasp the meanings or the words or the letters in that or the pronunciations or reading it with correct pronunciation. All these things relate to lexicography. So dyslexia means it is problems in reading letters and words, low fluency in speech, etc. Then dysphasia or aphasia is problems in understanding spoken language. Dysphasia or aphasia. So a spoken language, difficulty in understanding the spoken language. This is the case now with most of the Sanskrit students, as we see. We know the subject, but if somebody talks fluently in Sanskrit, will not be so grasping, will not be so, taking that to our understanding. So there's a problem in understanding the spoken languages. This is called dysphasia, aphasia. These are some of the learning disorders which the learners suffer from. So the next thing is, I'm going strictly in accordance with the syllabus in the beginning. After I cover all the terms specified in the syllabus, then we will come to various theories regarding teaching and testing and all those things. Then we enter into a much more complicated arena of the technicalities about teaching and learning. So we'll be entering into that a little later after 2-3 lectures. Now it's still we are in the starting phase only. In the starting phase means as only explain the terms given in your syllabus, in the prescribed syllabus in for the UGC NET examination. So next he gave support material, teaching support systems. What is support material? See, why support material is necessary? What is support material? Good outcomes of learning depend on support material like study material, traditional and modern teaching aids, online educating and testing practices. Support material means a material which supports for a good learning process. For a good learning to happen, for a good learning to be the end result, we should have support material with the help of which teaching has to be carried out. Then the results, outcomes are good. So good outcomes of learning support material, study material. We know if I give a notes, if I just lecture like this and leave, nothing happens. You require something for a reference. So if I give you this study material for your reference, then this thought process goes in your brain. And when you get something, when you get some doubt or some require some clarification on any particular point, you can immediately refer to this. So that is like study material. Then while teaching is going on, traditional and modern teaching aids, to explain certain things, he has to show certain things, models or charts or maps or something like that. So he has to show those things. In this, there are traditional and also modern things. Modern things means which you go by videos, or which you go by audio presentations, etc. Traditional things are like showing some models, showing some laboratory things, and showing some maps and showing some pictures and all these things. Online educating and testing practices. Online educating and testing practices means it is totally applying the support systems. We go into the ICT-based education systems, which we'll look into much detail at a later stage. Then, what are the teaching support systems available? Normally, there are 3 types of teaching materials, teaching methods. One is traditional teaching methods. Traditional teaching methods, okay, I have written those details also. The second one is modern and ICT-based teaching methods. The third one is a combination of both these things. Traditional teaching methods means use of charts and blackboard. Objective is to pass the examination. Cheaper and useful in rural areas. No strain on the eye of students. So very briefly, I have given some points. You can elaborately understand these things. You have to elaborately understand these things. For example, use of chalks and blackboard means like normally which goes in the classroom teaching. So they use chalks and blackboard system, and it can be as per the latest things, electronic boards, electronic display boards. They can use in place of blackboards, etc. These are the traditional teaching methods. And here in these traditional teaching methods and at the lower levels of teaching the learning processes, what happens is here the objective is only to pass the examination. He will only set some questions and he will explain the answers on a blackboard, writing some writing with a chalk, like solving problems in mathematics, or showing some experimental setups through pictures, through figures, and also through some points with a blackboard writing on it with a chalk, and all these things. These are go on. These will go on. These mostly help the students because everything he cannot write on the blackboard and explain the student. So these things mostly help in getting the student, help the student in getting information important to the extent of going through the passing through the examination. Then this is naturally, it's a cheaper system of teaching because not much costly equipment is involved here. It is cheaper because the rural folk cannot invest on their education to give them the education with modern aids, which cost a little bit, definitely. So this is useful, especially in rural areas, because it is cheaper. But there is an advantage of this. By going for the blackboard and chalk, etc., traditional learning methods, your eyesight is not affected. Your eyes are safe. Your eyes are not strained. But when you go to the modern type of education like what we are now doing, definitely your eyes get strained. If you are on the system for 6 to 8 hours a day, definitely you are going to get your eyesight affected to some extent, at least. Then the second system is, as we show here, modern and ICT based teaching methods. What are the modern and ICT based teaching methods? Used in classrooms of computers, laptops with Wi-Fi, LCD projectors, interactive whiteboards, digital games, special websites or blogs, microphones, etc., etc., etc. All these things. That's what we are doing now. I need not elaborate this. We are now more or less going on ICT-based teaching only. I am screen sharing, means I am using cameras and projectors, and you are seeing them through your Wi-Fi. There are projectors here, there are cameras here. So this is all ICT-based teaching. Information and communication. ICT means information and communication technology. This is important. You have to know this. ICT is a separate big chapter for us. That's in these 10 units, one unit totally deals about the ICT systems. That means information and communication technology systems. This is a very big topic. We will go to that very much in detail later. So this is all the modern system of teaching. Then interest creating with animations and videos. The third one is combination of both. So combination of both means traditional systems as well as the modern systems. Why traditional system amidst the modern system? It is to create interest with animations and videos to better understand the concepts with visual aids, to memorize for longer periods, less time consuming. Means what happens here is, if you go for modern equipment based teaching process, then what happens naturally, rather than hearing a certain thing, if you can look at that and feel the actual situation, then you will remember it for long and you will understand it easily. So these video presentations, etc., are useful for that. And at the same time, how you can combine your traditional system with that? At times we have to go for role playing also, which goes with the students taking various portions in a particular topic and enacting them among the students themselves. Then they will be understanding it much more easily, and then they will remember it for longer and longer periods. This is a traditional method. This is a hard method. Means practically it goes with the students' practices, taking up some roles in various topics of their subjects. So this is how teaching support systems are used in the process of teaching. Then factors affecting effectiveness of teaching support systems. Now we have known what is a teaching support systems. Teaching support system is that which supports the teaching for better learning outcomes. This is teaching support systems. What are these teaching support systems? We have seen that also. There are traditional systems, there are modern ICT based systems, and there are systems combining both these. Then how these effectiveness of teaching support system, how this is, what are the factors which affect this effectiveness, which influence the effectiveness of these teaching support systems. One is choice of teaching aids. This is, you can understand, choice of teaching aids. Teaching aids have to be carefully chosen with reference to the learning lot, is it not? Because if you take small children for learning, small children learning, and then take them to a video presentation, what is it they can understand? You have to show a physical model to them, small pictures, small toys, these things. So that is what we call choice of teaching aids. That depends upon the level of teaching and the level of the learners. So depending upon that, you have to carefully choose the teaching aids. If you do not choose the teaching aids fit to the particular learners group, it's not useful. Definitely that affects negatively this learning outcomes. Simplicity rather than complexity of teaching aids. The teaching aid should be very simple, means the learner should be able to follow that and understand that. It should not be a complicated aid. Means to understand the aid itself, the learner should not need lot of time and brain. That is important. So simple teaching aids have to be selected. Then availability of resources like hardware and software. You should have, for communication, you should have good equipment. Hardware and software is the proper equipment for, there's a resource available. They have an overhead projector. They have some laptops. They have some screens. They can project on the screen and tell the students. For all these things to go on, they need very good hardware and very good software, so that their teaching goes softly with reference to the software capabilities. And at the same time, in the process of teaching, always the hardware should not create a hindrance in the process of teaching. It should be effective. It should be properly working. So we should have proper resources like hardware and software in the teaching process. Then relevance of aids with reference to subject taught. Means with reference to the subject, you have to choose the aids. When it comes to say a science experiment, when a science experiment comes, instead of going for a video presentation, if you can show a lab model, that will be more impactful, is it not? Therefore, you have to like that. Similarly, for explaining some mathematical aspects, you need physical models rather than explaining them on 3D, even on 3D models on a ICT based teaching system. So you have to select the aids relevant to the subject taught. You can actually simple video presentations go well for languages and literature or histories or humanity subjects like this. But when it comes to science and mathematics, you need physical, practical models rather than exclusive video presentations. Then effective visibility of teaching aid use. This also goes towards the software efficiency of the systems used. It should be visible, brightness, contrast, etc. All these things should be proper. Then timelines in use of aids. Timelines in use of aids means, suppose if you want to give a video presentation in bright light, if you now start giving a video presentation, that will not make any impact on the student. They will not get interested in that. And that is one thing. Then which time would be good for making such video presentations or going ICT based education, etc. Now we are doing this in the night time. We are comfortable. We can comfortably see this because everything is dark around us. Then Flexibility of using aids. You should be able to change the aids as per the need during process of teaching. Means you have to keep all the aids and you should be very easily changing the aids depending upon the subject going on. Then cost effectiveness of the aids used. Means the aids used in the process of teaching should not be very expensive, because the institutions also cannot invest so much of money for all these things. So there should be some economy observation also in choosing and procuring the aids for teaching purposes. Then attractiveness of aids used to make teaching interesting, etc. When you are doing it with some aid, when you are doing teaching with some aid, it should interest the students, and also it should be useful in understanding properly what is being conveyed by the teacher. So that attraction also should be there in the aids used. Means it refers to presentations. So these are various factors, some of the factors affecting the effectiveness of the teaching support systems. So the next thing goes instructional facilities. See, all these headings, I have given a color code for this. These are the various topics mentioned in your syllabus for UGC NET examination. Instructional facilities, learning environment, institution. What are instructional facilities? Instructional facilities means infrastructural facilities. Infrastructure for instruction to go on. The infrastructure should be comfortable and should be convenient. Then only we will be happy. We will enjoy the environment while learning. The facilities necessary at centers of formal instruction are like good classrooms, libraries, laboratories, meeting rooms, healthcare facilities, and good drinking water, etc., etc., etc. All these things should be there. In fact, we can also write some good toilets, toilet rooms, and recreation rooms. You can write anything. All these things should be available in the instruction centers. That means these are all these relate to infrastructural facilities. All these things should be there. Then learning environment. Learning environment refers to places other than formal instruction centers, that is outside the formal classrooms. Learning environment in the sense, the campus encompassing the institution, actually the buildings, etc., that also should be very, very congenial for informal learning. While formal learning goes in classrooms, informal learning goes outside the classrooms. That will have, in fact, at times that has more impact on the students, because there is a park in the institution's campus. In that park, a teacher is sitting somewhere. A student goes there. Immediately he gets a doubt. He feels teacher is readily available. Immediately he questions the teacher and he learns. Under those natural surroundings, if he questions and learns things, that has a very, very good impact on his remembering things, on his remembering that, and on his enjoying learning in such natural surroundings. Therefore, this learning environment in respect of informal learning also should be good in the educational institutions. Then institution. What is institution? The effectiveness of a teaching learning process depends on the institution. That is, policies made by the institutions as regards the independence given to the teachers to decide on teaching processes, etc. That means the institution should be like this. It should give some independence to certain extent to the teacher. Always it should not frame rules to tie the teachers in a particular frame, and always not allowing them any independence to choose their own practices or their own systems to teach the students. Because the teacher is the person who actually observes the students on field. He observes the students and he feels, I am to use something like this. So not what is prescribed by the institutional rules, that will not go. I have to do it like this. Then he should be allowed the freedom to certain extent, not an absolute freedom, but a freedom should be given to certain extent to the teachers to choose his learning aids or learning processes, or to deal with the students, etc. This is how an institution should make its policies, design its policies for better learning to go on. Next, we go to the next slide. Then we have talked something about ICT. ICT we go into much in detail later in that chapter. But a ICT-based educational facilities, there are so many facilities which we call, these are all the various initiatives taken by various institutions and also the governments. The governments, either state or the government of the country. So these are all e-learning facilities. There are many of these e-learning facilities. Let us look into a few of these things. You know, we now all these things are available for us. You will be surprised. We don't know that we have so many facilities or so many initiatives which we can make use of to make a better learning. So many things. For example, for people who are appearing for competitive examinations, all these are absolutely useful. Many people do not know. Until I read these things, I also do not know that there are so many initiatives available. All these are free. That is also there. All these are free. And all are online. All are at your own, at the comfort of your home and at the comfort of your time. You can go through these courses at your desired time periods and at your desired places. So the first one is called MOOCs. MOOCs means massive open online courses. Massive open online courses. These details will go a little later, but I'll introduce you to all these initiatives. This goes like this. It is taught free. You can enroll yourself and you can register yourself in these courses. These are various courses at different levels, graduation level, post-graduation level, at any level you take. You have these on all levels, at all levels, referring to various levels of educating programs. And you can join those courses by registering online. It goes online only. Massive means, you know, can you imagine in a massive open online course, there will be students in the order of lakhs, not even thousands. There will be students in the order of lakhs learning these things, lakhs and millions also at times. So these are all free. These are all free. Then how it is taught? There will be video presentations. There will be course handouts. Course handouts means they will be giving you the study material online. And then suggested readings, they give you certain specify certain references which you can read for an advanced study and for an elaborate study. And also they conduct online tests. This is what is called massive open online courses. These are available if you just click right on your system. If you just type on your system, you can see some of the courses available also. Practically, you can check all these things when you are free. Then one next thing is called Swayam. These are all the things which are abbreviations for an expanded meaning of the things. Why they named these initiatives like this? Swayam means, you see, study webs of active learning. A means active learning. Study webs of active learning for youth and aspiring minds. So this is for the developing students, developing learners, and also for the aspiring minds. It means for those who are interested, if you aspire to, achieve something great, this is for you. So this is the study webs of active learning for any aspiring minds. This also goes on the platform of MOOCs only. This is the initiative started by the Government of India. There are various online courses at all levels. All these courses are free of cost. And see, you will be getting excellent study material and very experienced and academically highly qualified teachers only conduct all these classes in these initiatives. Then the next one is Swayam Prabha. Swayam is the same thing, Prabha. This is a project of the Ministry of the Human Resources Development, which is under the Government of India. HRD antam kada, Human Resources Development Department under the Government of India. ఇక్కడ వీళ్ళు ఏం చేశారంటే NMEICT, perhaps I have not mentioned it here. There is an initiative, there is a mission, there is an organization called NMEICT, that is National Mission on Education based on ICT practices. Means information communication technology processes they take up teaching, and that goes as a national mission on educational processes. This is called Swayam Prabha. Swayam means the same meaning here, and Prabha ante which glows, which glows. And then see how this is done, it is a set of 32 DTH channels. They run direct to home channels, 32 channels. This 32 has been, this is the previous reference. And one more thing, when you are reading these things now in these topics, which are now going ahead, you have to update yourself with reference to the latest developments. If you give past information, that is not useful. So 32 channels was when it was initially started. Now it has gone to 34, and next stage 36. Now they are doing it through 36 DTH channels. 36 DTH channels they are running, and they are taking up teaching through all these channels. And for all these channels, there are different tasks assigned, and they go according to that. And then who is doing this? And somebody has to give the content for that. For this teaching to go on, they have to give the teaching material. At the same time, study material. Some content is to be given for all these things to go. Who are providing this content? Say for the Swayam Prabha, content is provided by the University Grants Commission, then CEC, IITs, and then IGNOU, NPTEL, NCERT, and NIOS. These are all the various organizations which research and prepare excellent study material, excellent teaching material for the teachers, and they supply it to this Swayam Prabha organization, which conducts its teaching through 36 DTH channels. The website of Swayam Prabha is maintained by the Inflibinet Center. Inflibinet Center. These are all the various organizations created by the Government of India. Then, so what is UGC? What is CEC? UGC, University Grants Commission. CEC is consortium for educational communication. IITs, Indian Institute of Technology, all these things Huh? This is National Program on Technically Enhanced Learning, National Council of Educational Research and Training, and things go like this. All there will be number of abbreviations like this which appear in exams, and we will see all these abbreviations at one place after some time. So, for example, for the present, you just understand these things. These are all the various institutions which provide material, both study material and teaching material, to this Swayam Prabha organization to conduct teaching through 36 DTH channels. Then, what is CEC? This is another consortium for educational communication. This is also set up by the University Grants Commission for addressing the needs of higher education through TV and ICT. That means information communication technology. This I already said. ICT is information and communication technology, or information communication technology, whatever. So CEC is consortium. Consortium means, it's an organization comprising certain bodies for that particular, to carry on with that particular purpose. This is the CEC. This is set up by the University Grants Commission. This is actually for addressing the needs of higher education. Higher education means post-graduation studies and above that. Post-graduation and above that. For these things, actually, the students would be self-inquiring. So they have so many needs which have to be addressed by someone and more experienced than these particular learners, students. So this CEC helps them through that through TV and information and communication technology. They run some TV programs, and they run some programs on the systems based on ICT practices. This is the another thing. And then it is an inter-university center for production of educational content. And then the CEC, Consortium of Educational Communication, means in this consortium, there would be so many bodies involved in this activity. They would be preparing the educational content for various ICT-based teaching and for various TV programs. This is what the consortium of educational communication does. దెన్ ఈ పాఠశాల, దిస్ ఈస్ వెరీ వెరీ యూస్ఫుల్ టు అస్ అండి. మీరందరూ కూడా ఈ పాఠశాల తప్పకుండా చూడండి. నేను యాక్చువల్గా మన ఎంఏ వాళ్ళకి రాసిన ఎస్పెషల్లీ వేదాల్లో నేను ఉన్నాయి చూడండి, సూక్తాలకి నేను మీనింగ్స్ రాశానే, అవి నేను ఈ పాఠశాలలో కొన్ని కలెక్ట్ చేశానండి. మన బుక్స్ లో లేవు అవి, ఆన్లైన్ కూడా దొరకలేదు నాకు. ఈ పాఠశాలలో దొరికాయి. Very, very, very eminent pundits taught those things. E-Pathshala is a very, very good initiative. It's a basic initiative as well as it goes for advanced studies also. That helps us a lot. You can refer to E-Pathshala also. This is set up by the joint efforts of Ministry of HRD, Government of India, NCERT. It supports a wide range of collection of educational resources. Can be used by teachers, researchers, students, and their parents, etc. See, this is multi-useful. Actually, I have made use to a fair extent of E-Pathshala lessons when understanding the Sanskrit subjects for myself. Then NPTEL, National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. This is the joint initiative of IITs. IITs means the traditional 5 IITs plus the new one, Guwahati IIT, and also the Roorkee IIT, which are newly set up. So all these 7 institutions look after this NPTEL, conduct of the NPTEL. Then ICT-based teaching support systems. Teaching made interesting using ICT with resources of videos, animations, images in slides, etc., etc. So this is how these e-learning facilities are made available to the learners, and these are very, very few which I have mentioned here. This is only for example. We are going to look into many more such initiatives at a later stage. That's a different topic by itself. So the next slide is regarding teaching learning models. Okay, for today we'll stop here. And teaching learning models. See, we are going more technical from now onwards. We are just see. We know good teaching practice is going from simpler to complex things. So far, all the terms are very much known to you, known to everyone. There are common terms, but of course, we do not know the particular meanings of those terms. We have seen into those things, but now we are going into some technicalities of the subject of education. So you have to carefully follow these things. Now we are going to see some teaching learning models, which are called with pedagogy model, andragogy model, pedagogy model. So these are all the various things. So we'll see these things from next week. From the next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll enter into this. For today, we'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much. ఏదన్నా మీకుంటే చూడండి. నేను I'll be giving you the updates in the Jaygeez Brainary public group on Telegram, and also by next week I will try to make you available some of these study notes for your guidance, for your reference. Okay, thank you, Andy. Then I will stop here for today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
నమస్తే అండి శశి కుమార్ గారు.
నమస్కారం సార్. నమస్కారం అండి. చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ గా ఉంది. మీరు ఎంతో శ్రమ తీసుకుని మాకు ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ఇస్తున్నారు. చాలా సంతోషం సార్.
తప్పకుండా నోట్స్ కూడా ఇస్తాను.
అలాగే.